You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to this morning's programming in just a second here, but first a little word with you about Free Speech TV. Well, they did it, they did it. Yep, damn Republicans shut down the government, and you know what? They shut down the government because they ran out of money. Well, we're going to have to shut down free speech if we run out of money. No, we're not going to shut it down, but we do need your help to keep going here with the great programming on Free Speech TV. I'm the new kid on the block, but Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, Democracy Now!, David Pakman been here a long time, and the kind of programming that you get on Free Speech TV. I ran into someone yesterday who was so excited. He said, Free Speech, I love it because they broadcast the Netroots Conference every year. He said, all kinds of good stuff on Free Speech, but without any corporate money, that's how we can be so independent, without any government money, without any political campaign ads running on Free Speech TV. It's all up to you, our viewers across this great land of ours, to keep us going. So I ask you to go to our the toll-free number 877-378-8669 and make your pledge, or go to the website freespeech.org. And if you're already a supporter of Free Speech TV, we thank you and ask you to renew your sponsorship at this time. And if not, if you're new to free speech like I am, then join up and keep us going, keep us on the air. If you can help us with $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. Send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk, about the right-wing radio world and all the crazies who are on there, and also about the good lefties who are on talk radio, like me and Tom Hartman and Stephanie Miller and Ed Schultz, and how we can, what liberals have to do to really level the playing field. If you can help us with $240 a year, which is just $20 a month for all this good programming, a copy of Toxic Talk, and a copy of How the Republicans Stole Religion, which refutes the Republicans' attempt to get a monopoly on faith and to say they're the one faith party and the Democrats are not. And how about it? For $360 a year, that's just $30 a month. Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and the latest book, my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, about the Koch brothers, the evil Koch brothers and their big machine, which is trying to pollute American politics. So that's what we've got to offer to you for $120, for $240, for $360 a year. Help us out here at Free Speech TV because we're proud to be so independent, just interested in telling the truth every day with no corporate influence at all. We can only do that with your help right here on Free Speech TV. The number again, 877-378-8669. Or you can go to freespeech.org. Back to the news.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Day 2 of the government shutdown. Isn't it time to end this thing already? What do you say? Hello, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wednesday, October 2nd. Here we go. From the capital of the shutdown, Washington, D.C., we are reaching out to you this morning on a Wednesday, October 2nd, to give you the latest from all the scrambles here and the battles in Washington, D.C., how it's impacting you, how it's impacting people across the land, and then what do we find out on the first day of the health exchanges for the Affordable Care Act? Lots to talk about this morning, coming to you live on your local Progressive Talk radio station. Thank you for tuning in to your morning Progressive Radio News Talk. Also coming out to you live on Free Speech TV, if you got the Dish Network or Direct TV, and coming to you live on our video stream as well on TawkrTV, TAWKR TV. YouTube.com/TawkrTV is how you find it. We look forward to hearing from you as well as what all the issues mean to you. We've got our team in place here this morning, Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Hey. Bill, good morning.
Have survived the countdown so far, the shutdown so far.
Yeah. By the way, there are some...
No longer countdown to shutdown.
It's a count up. It's a count up. Some networks have a count up clock on there. You know, we said the countdown to the shutdown. We're at 30 hours, 7 minutes, and 41 seconds right now, if you're to believe some of these count up clocks.
That we're into the shutdown.
We're into the shutdown.
All right. So, and how what's the ceiling? Do we know yet?
I was going to say, imagine if this goes on for a couple of weeks.
They're going to have days. It'll be like the hostage crisis in, how Nightline started. Anyway, Dan Henning, good morning.
Hi there.
And Alicia Cruz, she's standing by to take your phone calls as well as, she reminds me of one of those, those I guess they're Buddhist or whatever statues, the women with all the arms.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's Alicia. She's got all those arms, so she can handle all those phone lines all at one time. And then Cyprian Balding with all the eyes on the video cam.
He's like an octopus in there, right? Like he's got hands everywhere. he's switching with his feet. He's got it going on.
There we go. Hey, want to hear from you by... speaking of phone calls, 866-55-PRESS, our toll-free number. And remember, we got the social media lines open and ready for you on Twitter, @BP Show, and on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPress Show. A good reason to sign up for Twitter is I always tweet from the White House, was tweeting yesterday from the Rose Garden, a couple of pictures of President Obama with a whole group of average Americans who are benefiting from the Affordable Care Act. They're standing behind him, along with Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius, in the Rose Garden yesterday, or the Rose Garden, as my
your autocorrect.
I'd love to know. I always type it Rose, and immediately it says Rose.
Well, why? I mean, the way that I'll tell you why. The way that the autocorrect works is it picks up on familiar words that you use.
No, I do not use Rose.
I can only imagine how many times you've typed Rose into your phone.
Is that what you're drinking right now? A nice bottle of Rose?
It's just a jug full of Rose for breakfast.
No, but it is true. All of my tweets are from the Rose Garden.
I like it. I think it gives your tweets character.
Yesterday, while we were waiting for the president, there was a hummingbird that was working the flowers on either side of the podium. I was just hoping that hummingbird would do one of those flybys during the news conference, but he sort of disappeared once the president came out. We got it covered here. By the way, we're getting closer now to the final rundown, I guess, in the baseball playoffs. Last night it was Pittsburgh Pirates versus Cincinnati Reds. How the game ended depended on which city's broadcast you were listening to. Let's start with how it sounded in Pittsburgh.
Look at this sea of black. Flags a-waving. The pitch. One hopper to second. On to first. Raise the Jolly Roger. And meet me in St. Louis.
Raise the Jolly Roger. Meet me in St. Louis. Okay. And then...
I think he was the Pirates announcer.
Yeah, I think it was.
That would be KDKA.
How did it sound in Cincinnati?
And a swing and a ground ball to second. Walker throws. And the 2013 season is officially over for the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, I guess it.
Yeah. Total wet blanket.
Boy, was it ever. Coming up, we're going to be talking to Dr. Zeke Emanuel from the Center for American Progress, as well as one of the officials of the Health and Human Services Agency, about how the health exchanges opening went yesterday. Had some glitches for sure. And Congressman Henry Cuellar will be joining us here in studio with his insights on what's happening inside the House with the shutdown. We'll get right to that. But first...
This is the Full Court Press.
On this Wednesday, other headlines making news: a big bipartisan sign of civil disobedience on the National Mall yesterday as busloads of World War II veterans walked past government shutdown barricades at the World War II Memorial for a ceremony. The Hill reporting the vets just started walking through the barricades with the help of members of Congress. Senator Tom Harkin and Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, among others, were there to help the vets out and make sure that police did not arrest him, but the police just stood back and let him walk in.
By the way, I wouldn't go so far as to say Michelle Bachmann was there helping. There were a couple stories that said she just sort of showed up and ran around looking for TV cameras to talk to.
Sure. That's why she was there. Yeah. No, exactly. But you know what? She shut it down.
Yeah, right.
She should not have been there taking credit. She shut it down, that dingbat.
It sounds like a challenge from Michael Jordan.
Her paycheck.
It sounds like a challenge from Michael Jordan in a video promoting the NBA's new 2K14 video game. He says he's confident he could beat LeBron James in a one-on-one basketball game if he were still in his prime. When asked about Kobe Bryant, he said he'd probably lose only because Bryant steals all of his moves.
Oh, he would lose to Bryant?
To Bryant, because he says that Bryant steals his moves.
Yeah.
But that's not a necessary dig at Kobe.
If he were in his prime. Yeah. Okay, there's a lot of stuff we could do if we were still 12.
By the way, I saw a screen grab of the NBA game 2014 and 2013, and the big difference was with LeBron, because he's got this receding hairline, is they've moved his headband way back to reflect his receding hairline.
Oh,
poor guy.
And you probably never thought you'd hear the word Twitter and Beatles in the same sentence, but former Beatle Paul McCartney is taking to Twitter tomorrow morning to do an online Q&A for the first time. He'll answer questions on Twitter as part of promoting his new album. He does have a Twitter handle with about 1.5 million followers, but he has never tweeted himself. His assistant does it for him. He will do it for the first time tomorrow.
Oh, come on. The Pope tweets. You got to be tweeting.
Absolutely.
Yep. We are through day one of the shutdown, 30 hours in, according to the CNN clock. I was there at the White House yesterday. It was interesting to watch the action on Capitol Hill in the Congress and the action down at the White House. The president came out supposedly about 12:25. We stood around for a long time. He finally came out about 1 o'clock. With a group of Americans who had taken advantage of yesterday to sign up for the Affordable Care Act, and he was rip-roaring mad about the shutdown, linking the two, of course, shutting. And again, you can't say it too often. How ridiculous this whole thing is all summed up in the fact that the Republicans shut down the government to protest Obamacare, and yesterday was the launching of the whole new phase of Obamacare, because the one goal they had, they did not achieve by shutting down the government. They shut down a lot of other stuff. They did not shut down the Affordable Care Act. So the whole thing was a total exercise in futility, a nothingness gesture. But the president, first of all, and everybody picked up on this, all the reporters were buzzing about it afterwards, the president started calling it, and he did several times, the Republican shutdown.
This Republican shutdown did not have to happen. This Republican shutdown threatens our economy at a time when millions of Americans are still looking for work and businesses are starting to get some traction. So the timing is not good.
And by the way, the president singled them out, no doubt again, about who's responsible, calling it the Republican shutdown. And also, he indicated that, this is not the entire Congress. This is not even the entire Republican Party. This is just one gang. In fact, the New York Times this morning has their pictures and their names. There are 20 hard-liners, right, who've got the whole world today by the short hairs, starting with, of course, John Boehner. Here's the president.
Let me be more specific. One faction of one party in one house of Congress, in one branch of government, shut down major parts of the government, all because they didn't like one law.
I love that. One faction of one party in one house of Congress and one branch of government because they don't like one law, and they shut down the government.
That really is outrageous. It's outrageous when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the pain and suffering that people all across the country
because of these
20 people.
20 yokels.
Yeah.
Right. 20 hardliner Tea Parties, including Michelle Bachmann, of course, in there, and Steve King from Iowa.
I was going to say, I'm looking at these 20 people. They all look really similar, except for Michelle Bachmann. It's a bunch of old white guys.
Yeah, and by the way, people you never heard of.
Yeah, right.
They're all Tea Partiers. And so the president, again, yesterday said that here's his very simple message to Congress.
My basic message to Congress is this: pass a budget, end the government shutdown.
Do your job.
Pay your bills. Prevent an economic shutdown.
Yep.
Don't wait. Don't delay. Don't put our economy or our people through this any longer.
And then the president, of course, he's got these people behind him. There are about 12 people there who have taken advantage of the Affordable Care Act. And the president said, and this again is just, it's unbelievable, but what the Republicans want to do is prevent, there's some 30 million Americans, right, who don't have health insurance. What the Republican goal is to prevent all of those people from getting health insurance. And by the way, as we pointed out several times, they have provided no alternative to the Affordable Care Act. None. So they basically want people who don't have health insurance today to continue not to have health insurance.
I know it's strange that one party would make keeping people uninsured the centerpiece of their agenda, but that apparently is what it is. And of course, what's stranger still is that shutting down our government doesn't accomplish their stated goal.
So meanwhile, and Peter, we read this morning, there's some real people already hurting out there because of this. The NIH, the National Institutes of Health, pointed out yesterday that every week the shutdown continues. There are another 10 kids with cancer who will not be able to go into clinical trials. 3/4 of the staff of the NIH has been furloughed. So all those people who get all that, who provide care to people at this national hospital will not be there. Those patients will just not be taken care of.
Yeah, all told, there are like 200 patients, cancer patients, who would be going into clinical trials that are going to be turned away.
Each week,
yep,
turned away.
Each
200 patients who'd be going into clinical trials turned away. I mean, this is just, it's cruel. It really is cruel and short-sighted. And so the Republicans do yesterday? Oh, well, they said, oh, my God, we might be really in a mess here. Well, let's try to fix it. Let's see. We'll pass a bill that will reopen the national parks and we'll reopen veterans benefits. We'll start paying those. And we'll allow the District of Columbia to use federal money so they can keep city services running in the District of Columbia. So you see what they wanted? They want to piecemeal it, again, and make it less painful and everything. And by the way, all three failed in the House of Representatives. They couldn't even get enough Republicans to vote for that. They failed in the House of Representatives. And by the way, the president has said he would veto such legislation, which he should. You cannot piecemeal this. No. I said, yes, if they're going to shut down the government, they ought to shut down the whole damn government. I'm sorry they didn't. But if they're going to reopen it, you got to reopen the government. There's none of this little Mickey Mouse games that the Republicans are trying to play. There's no doubt who's responsible. I guess the big question is, how long are these Republicans going to try to hold out? Paul Ryan, yesterday, we haven't heard from him. Suddenly he popped up yesterday, and he's suggesting now that they may continue the shutdown all the way till October 17, when they have to deal with the debt ceiling.
Oh, my God.
Continue it for another 2 weeks to compound the matter, because the debt ceiling, not raising debt ceiling, would be far, far worse than a government shutdown, as bad as it is. How do we get out of this mess? What do you think is going to happen? What do you see of the impact so far? 866-55-PRESS. Here we are on a Wednesday morning on the Bill Press Show.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What do you say? This is Bill Press here. We'll be back to today's broadcast with all of our great guests in just a moment here. But first, just a word about Free Speech TV. You know, I started my nationally syndicated radio show in 2005, almost 8 years ago now. And I've also done, think about it, this is my 5th national television show on CNN. I was co-host of Crossfire. I was co-host of The Spin Room. On MSNBC, I was co-host of Buchanan and Press for several years. On Current TV, did a show called Full Court Press, and now the Bill Press Show on Free Speech TV. And I've got to tell you, in all that time, with all those different networks, all those different shows, I never felt as at home and as comfortable and as good about what I'm doing as I do right now on Free Speech TV. I'm so glad to be part of this great network that brings you people like Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman and David Pakman. So proud to join that lineup. But, you know, and this is the kind of media, the reason I feel so comfortable, because totally independent, totally free to talk about whatever we want to talk about. You get to get involved in the conversation. And that's the kind of broadcasting you'll find nowhere else. It's truly independent, truly transparent, truly truthful, speaking truth to power every day. And that's what we need in this country. But, of course, without any corporate money, without any political ads, without any government money, free speech depends on you to keep us going and to keep this great lineup coming to you every day. So we ask you, if you're already a supporter of free speech, to renew your sponsorship. If you're new to free speech like I am, then join us any way you can. Go to 877-378-8669 and send us whatever support you can. Be as generous as you can. Or you can go to freespeech.org. As a little incentive for joining us, here are a couple of things to consider. If you can give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month, you'll get a signed copy of my book, Toxic Talk, all about right-wing talk radio, who they are, how bad they are, and what the left has to do to get back into talk radio. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, get a copy of Toxic Talk and a copy of my favorite book that I wrote, How the Republicans Stole Religion. They think they have a monopoly on God, and they don't, because God was a liberal, we know that. And if you can do $360 a year, that's $30 a month. These two books, plus a copy of my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, all about the Koch brothers and the billions of dollars that they spend to try to defeat anything that Barack Obama stands for. So we need your help. We ask for your help because we want to continue this great broadcasting. Again, you can join us by phone at 877-378-8669 and send your pledge, or go on freespeech.org. Be as generous as you can. We'll keep coming to you every day, and thank you.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the International Bill Press Show here, coming to you live early this Wednesday morning, 26 minutes after the hour. Headlines interesting on Huffington Post this morning. Maybe you've seen them. The big headline is, could go on for weeks. House leaders dig in. 800,000 workers sent home. By the way, to put that in context, those are federal workers, including one of my sons, by the way. 800,000. That is more than Target, GM, Exxon, and Google combined.
Whoa.
So what if you shut down all four of those companies, right? Shut them down. That's the equivalent of what they've done. Kids with cancer blocked from clinical trials. We mentioned that earlier. Science grinds to a halt. Food safety inspections suspended. National parks closed. Search for a missing woman put on hold. Congress still getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of sums it up. Peter.
Yeah, we're on Twitter at BP Show, at BP Show. Rodeo Gal says the GOP would replace Obamacare with Paul Ryan's little health care voucher. This is a bait and switch. And Vulcanbard says, Bill, the one question not being asked is, what is the final GOP demand? Which is, in other words, if they want to repeal Obamacare, what will they replace it with?
Well, what's their final demand? Their demands keep kind of going down the scale, right? As we said,
right.
from totally getting rid of the Affordable Care Act to delaying it for a year to now to bringing the national parks open again. Out in, early here, but earlier in Crockett, California on Free Speech TV. Hey, Tony, what do you think about all this?
I was wondering if Boehner, how would Boehner lose his job? How would they vote? I mean, what would be the procedure?
Well, what happens is they would, the rump members of the House would, in their Republican caucus, would they've got the ability to do this. They just say, we want another vote of confidence, right, in the Speaker, and they think they could get enough votes to prevent John Boehner from getting a majority for Speaker, at which time they'd have a new Speaker like Eric Cantor. Either Republicans or Democrats can elect a new leader at any time, and that's what Boehner's afraid of.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Packman. You won't find good news like and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so you can we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah. What the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Or you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your
you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
"34 minutes now after the hour. We're rolling along here on a Wednesday morning. A couple more comments on the Affordable Care, on the shutdown, and then talk about the other big event of the day, related, of course, because while they shut down part of the government, the Affordable Care Act had all kinds of new life yesterday and new activity and people signing up for the health exchanges on day one. Peter.
A terrific conversation happening on Twitter right now where we're tweeting at BP Show. Irvin Campbell tweeting, Bill, says, "I finally found your show. I've been looking for you since you left the network that shall not be named."
All right, Irving.
Welcome, Irvin.
Welcome. Yes.
Happy to have you.
Free Speech TV.
You got it. Margaret Colvin says on Republicans, they are not standing their ground. They're holding Americans hostage. And
Elizabeth Warren said that yesterday. Hostage-taking is the only thing the Republicans have left.
Basically, yeah. And NC Nomad, who we hear from often, says congressional pay is not a necessity. Why shouldn't we stop that?
No, it's not essential. Members of Congress are certainly not essential. You know.
Right.
They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
In Ithaca, up in Ithaca, New York. Hey, Helen, good morning.
Oh, hi. Good morning, Bill.
All right. We love
colleagues.
We love WNYY up there. Yep.
And
thank you.
I met you and Stephanie Miller when you were here.
Oh, yeah. We had fun at that theater out there.
I had your book, Toxic Talk. For some reason, Stephanie Miller also autographed it, although she had nothing to do with the writing.
She's a part of the book.
Yeah, she's mentioned. She's mentioned in the book. Right. Good.
She has her heart in the right place.
All right. Yeah. What's up?
Anyhow, these Republicans, they're doing this, just like say no. I think, I hope Obama has the spine to just say no to everything that they're
far.
They're doing PR work to make themselves not look bad. Oh, let's not close the national parks.
Yeah.
Let's not close the museums in Washington. Because, we're not the jerks that, we really are. They're trying to... And even Hagel, who's a Republican, who's the Secretary of Defense, a lot of Republicans are criticizing these crazy people. And they're saying, he said, a nice gesture, why are you saying, let's not withhold pay from people who are in the service? He openly criticized him. This was last week, This was
Well, he's not the only Republican. I mean, to the extent that there are any moderate Republicans left, more and more of them are saying, what are we doing here? Why are we letting these 20 yahoos run our party? It's really embarrassing for them.
And now the last couple of days, they're trying to make themselves look good. Open the museums. Open the national parks.
It's not going to work, Helen. Not going to work. They can't do it piecemeal like that. And that's what they're trying to do. The president will never go along with that. And he's right not to. Again, hope to see you up in Ithaca again pretty soon. Haven't been up there in a while. This is a beautiful time of year up there, too. Richard, out in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, Free Speech TV. Hey, Richard, welcome.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I can't even begin to understand the mechanizations, if you will, of our government. How they can just decide to shut down our government at the will of maybe 20, 30 people, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Why don't we just have John Boehner and get rid of all the rest? Because if they're going to vote for him, if they're going to follow his vote, why the hell do we need 20 other people? Why do we need 213 other or 18 other people or whatever?
Yeah, well, true, except they're not following him. He's following them. That's the problem with it.
That's true. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and but no, you're right about the rules of the Congress. You would think that under the Constitution, their job is to pass a budget, right? And keep the government running. The fact that they're able not to do that and get away with it, and still get paid while they get away with it,
still get paid,
really does make you scratch your head and say, maybe we ought to fix this whole thing, And remember how we got here. Not to get, too wonky, but the Senate passed a budget 6 months ago. What should have happened then was the House should have taken up the Senate budget and then get together on a conference committee and resolve the differences between the two. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work. The problem is John Boehner, for 6 months, refused to appoint the Republican members of the House committee. So the committee could never meet. The Senate appointed their members. Nancy Pelosi appointed the Democrats from the House. Boehner refused to appoint the Republican members of the committee. Chris Van Hollen and others have been in studio here with us several times and have made that point. And so without that, time tick, tick, clock ticks until we get right up to the end of the fiscal year, and there's still no budget because Boehner never reported to the conference committee. And that's when the Republicans said, okay, we'll pass we'll act now, and we'll pass a continuing resolution, but only if you agree to get rid of Obamacare, which has nothing to do with the budget. It's not on the budget. That's why the Affordable Care Act kicked in yesterday, because the shutdown did not impact it at all. It's a totally extraneous issue that they are trying to hold hostage in order to do their job and pass the budget. Scott, out in Sheffield, Iowa. Hello, Scott. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning. What's your take here?
One thing that is very interesting about the Republicans not saying a thing about the ACA is it would be interesting to know how many Republicans signed up yesterday, Democrats and independents. You know it?
I know. I'd love to know that.
Wouldn't that be interesting to find out if more Republicans signed up than anybody else?
I wouldn't be surprised. I'll tell you one thing. You know damn well, Scott, and your point is a really good one. It was not just Democrats who signed up yesterday. The 30 million people, it's not just Democrats who can't get health care. And that's what I never understood about this. With these Tea Party people, you know damn well there are a lot of people in their districts who don't have health insurance.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is the first time they've ever had a chance to get it. And that's a good thanks, Scott, for the call. That's a good segue to yesterday. I would say overall, and we're going to talk more to Dr. Zeke Emanuel in the next segment about this. Overall, the launch was a huge success with some glitches, because they did find out that so many people went to sign up that in many different parts of the country, the system crashed. Here's President Obama admitting that in the Rose Garden yesterday.
The reason is because more than 1 million people visited healthcare.gov before 7 in the morning. To put that in context, there were 5 times more users in the marketplace this morning than have ever been on Medicare.gov at one time.
hard to believe there've never been more than 200,000 on Medicare.gov, but I'll take the president for his word. So they say yesterday the figures they're giving is that 2.8 million people went to healthcare.gov. That's in addition to, in some states, the states are running their own, like Kentucky, and they call it something else, but it's still the same program, and they have their own websites. So, millions of people yesterday went to look at and find out what the terms were, not saying that all of them signed up, which is huge, huge. Unfortunately, on the one day where you wanted everything to work like magic, right? Everything to be smooth and everybody get all the information they needed and everybody have a big smile on their face, there were a lot of computer glitches, which should never have happened. They should never have let that happen.
You got to be ready for it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, with something that big and a rollout that important, have it together.
Have it together. They tested it. They said they were ready. Obviously, they had not tested it well enough. But President Obama said, hey, give us a break here.
I don't remember anybody suggesting Apple should stop selling iPhones or iPads or threatening to shut down the company if they didn't.
Because
that's not how we do things in America.
Because he said, remember, there were Apple had a little problems with its iPhone a few years back. So he was having fun with that yesterday. At any rate, it is off and running, and we'll find out how many people actually signed up. We'll talk to Dr. Zeke Emanuel from the Center for American Progress. He's got a brother you may have heard of. What's his name? He's got some job. What is that? Some little city out in the Midwest. We'll come back with Dr. Zeke Emanuel from Center for American Progress.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Packman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah. What the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at Facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
Here we go. It's 13 minutes before the top of the hour. Yes, indeed, President Obama in the Rose Garden yesterday, and I was there, tying the two big events of the day together because they certainly are related, the shutdown and the day one of the opening of the health exchanges for the Affordable Care Act around the country. Republicans shutting down the government because they don't like the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, and yet their actions did nothing to interfere with or to slow down the launching of Obamacare. How did that second part of it happen? The president, of course, standing there with Kathleen Sebelius, HHS secretary, had 8 or 10 Americans with him, average Americans, representative Americans, who had signed up yesterday using the health exchange for the Affordable Care Act. Watching all of this for the Center for American Progress, senior fellow Dr. Zeke Emanuel joins us on the line this morning. Hey, Zeke, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How did it go yesterday? Were you pleased with the launch?
Well, I think it went well. I think the fact that had a lot of people had difficulty getting onto the site attests to the fact that there were a lot of people who were interested. As the president said, there are going to be glitches, and there were certainly plenty of glitches. I tried to get on the federal site and couldn't. But I also do think that represents a lot of interest on behalf of people. Most of us wish the government wouldn't shut down because of this.
Right, I know, which is nuts. But you were at HHS. Did they fail to test the systems adequately? It was a little embarrassing, these glitches. It was a day where you wanted everything to work perfectly so everybody could sign up, right?
Yeah, I think there's everyone was madly rushing to opening day because it's just a lot of work to be done. And a lot of obstruction along the way. So I think it's a classic case. Someone once said Republicans sort of, kill their parents and then claim that they're orphans, obstructing the bill and say, see, it didn't work as planned.
Yeah.
That's pretty, self-evident if you don't, not everyone's pushing in the right direction. You don't have a situation at Google, for example, when they're launching a new product of half the company saying, trying to sabotage it.
I've seen the number 2.8 million.
Yeah, I think that number was generated really early in the day, somewhere, in the early afternoon. So it's hard to know how many total. I think that's a number within the first few hours, not a number for the whole day. That's what everyone's repeating, but I think way low.
Do we know of that number, how many actually signed up?
No, but you wouldn't expect many to sign up.
Right,
because,
well,
it's not just the first day. It's also, you can't get coverage to start until January 1st, and we know from from the Massachusetts site that people come and visit and look around and assess the products for a number of times before they actually buy. So you would, plopping down your money on October 1st doesn't get you any coverage earlier than if you plop your money down on, say, December 1st or December 15th. So it's pretty unusual for a lot of people to sign up. There will be some, of course. There are always early adopters.
Right. You know what? Hey, Dan, do we have that from Jimmy Kimmel last night, the first? I don't know whether you know, Zeke. Yes, you do, all right?
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, so Jimmy Kimmel, just for our audience, he sent one of his reporters out to people to ask them which they preferred, the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. I want to play this because I got a pertinent question to ask you about it, but here's the clip first.
We're talking about health care today, and which plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And what is it about Obamacare that you do not like?
I just think that there's a lot of holes in it, and it needs to be revamped. I think
And you think
hasn't been thought out.
You think the Affordable Care Act is a better plan than Obamacare?
Better, but I'm not happy with that either.
All right. So the point is that goes on, and most of the people say, no, I'll prefer the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. And so the point, I guess, Zeke, is this: that there is a lot of ignorance out there still today about what the Affordable Care Act is, and there's a lot of effort on the part of Koch brothers and others to try to discourage people from signing up. So what is being done to inform people and to get them to sign up?
Well, I think this is one of the most serious problems, but it also points to a long-standing problem we know about American democracy, is that, people don't know a lot of things. They're, preoccupied with their own lives, and some of the big issues that are going on, they're not well informed. The polls show that still roughly a third of Americans still believe there are death panels in the bill, and there's a big proportion of Americans, I forget the exact number, that don't even know the Affordable Care Act is the law of the land.
Yeah.
So, that they don't know the difference between the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, it's kind of scary given the amount of attention, press coverage, discussion. On the other hand, it's, sort of par for the course in American democracy, where a lot of people don't know what necessarily is going on. What might have been most scary about that is the confidence with which people who don't know anything assert their opinion. That is, I thought, the most worrisome thing. Like that, they were, Americans have learned to be confident when they know nothing, and that may be the most scary part of it.
But I'm afraid they learned that from people on television, because I know too many people on television who don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they assert themselves with confidence all the time. Zeke Emanuel, great to have you on the program.
Thank
you.
You.
See you sometime.
Take care.
Thanks, Dr. Zeke Emanuel, formerly at HHS, now at the Center for American Progress.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Jay Farner here with Quicken Loans.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Packman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days, with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah, what the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book. all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spent just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
By the way, I just read that the shoe shine service at the United States Capitol has been suspended because of the shutdown. Oh, my God. If there's anything that'll get the Republicans back to their senses, is that.
The horror.
By the way, Jared Polis, Congressman from Colorado. Remember Ted Cruz reading Green Eggs and Ham, of course, as part of his 21-hour faux filibuster. Jared Polis didn't like that. He penned a little response. I do not like Ted Cruz reading Green Eggs and Ham. I do not like it. Patriot I am. I do not like him reading it when government is in a jam. I do not like his fake filibuster scam. I do not like it when we're recovering from a flood. He's from Colorado. I do not like it when we need help clearing mud. I do not like it when Obamacare repeal he tries to ram or says to breast cancer survivors, sorry, ma'am. I will not insure you in a boat. I will not insure you across a moat. I will not insure your child with asthma. I will not insure your disorder of plasma. No, I will not insure you or your fam. I will not insure you, Ted Cruz. I am. Good job, Jared Polis.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to this morning's programming in just a second here, but first a little word with you about Free Speech TV. Well, they did it, they did it. Yep, damn Republicans shut down the government, and you know what? They shut down the government because they ran out of money. Well, we're going to have to shut down free speech if we run out of money. No, we're not going to shut it down, but we do need your help to keep going here with the great programming on Free Speech TV. I'm the new kid on the block, but Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, Democracy Now!, David Pakman been here a long time, and you know the kind of programming that you get on Free Speech TV. I ran into someone yesterday who was so excited. He said, Free Speech, I love it because they broadcast the Netroots Conference every year. He said, all kinds of good stuff on Free Speech, but without any corporate money, that's how we can be so independent, without any government money, without any political campaign ads running on Free Speech TV. It's all up to you, our viewers across this great land of ours, to keep us going. So I ask you to go to our the toll-free number 877-378-8669 and make your pledge, or go to the website freespeech.org. And if you're already a supporter of Free Speech TV, we thank you and ask you to renew your sponsorship at this time. And if not, if you're new to free speech like I am, then join up and keep us going, keep us on the air. If you can help us with $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. Send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk, about the right-wing radio world and all the crazies who are on there. and also about the good lefties who are on talk radio, like me and Tom Hartman and Stephanie Miller and Ed Schultz, and how we can, what liberals have to do to really level the playing field. If you can help us with $240 a year, which is just $20 a month for all this good programming, a copy of Toxic Talk, and a copy of How the Republicans Stole Religion, which refutes the Republicans' attempt to get a monopoly on faith and to say they're the one faith party and the Democrats are not. And how about it? For $360 a year, that's just $30 a month, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and the latest book, my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, about the Koch brothers, the evil Koch brothers and their big machine, which is trying to pollute American politics. So that's what we've got to offer to you for $120, for $240, for $360 a year. Help us out here at Free Speech TV, because we're proud to be so independent, just interested in telling the truth every day with no corporate influence at all. We can only do that with your help right here on Free Speech TV. The number again, 877-378-8669. We can go to freespeech.org. Back to the news.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Day 2 of the government shutdown, or according to CNN's clock, 31 hours and 6 minutes into the government shutdown, and looks like we got a long way to go before we get out of it. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good to see you this morning on a Wednesday, second day of October. We're coming to you live from the shutdown nation's capital. And we'll bring you up to date on the latest shenanigans here by House Republicans as they try to wiggle their way out of the mess that they have created, and what President Obama is doing to keep the pressure on them. Good to see you, whether you're listening on your local progressive talk radio station or watching us on Free Speech TV or on our video feed at TawkrTV, where you go to youtube.com/Tawkr, TAWKR TV. The team here assembled: Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Hey.
Good morning. Going here with Alicia Cruz, waiting for your phone calls, and Cyprian Bolding. Making sure we're looking good on Free Speech TV, our videographer, and on the video stream, again, at TawkrTV. You can join us and give us your comments, what you think about this whole mess, at 866-55-PRESS, our toll-free number. On Twitter, at BP Show, and on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPressShow. There was, yesterday, there was a death of tourism yesterday, certainly here in Washington, D.C., around the country, with all the national parks and national monuments closed as well. The Statue of Liberty, the Arch in St. Louis, Point Reyes National Seashore, Yosemite Park out on the West Coast, Redwood National Park. Here in Washington, D.C., all the Smithsonians were closed, and the memorials, including the World War II Memorial, except there was a group of World War II veterans who arrived in Washington yesterday, and damn if they were going to be stopped. They wanted to see that World War II Memorial, and they just pushed the fence aside and went right in.
Love it.
Jay Leno talked about it last night.
Hey, I love this story. God bless them. Today, a group of World War II veterans were denied entrance to the World War II Memorial because of the shutdown. Well, these old guys, they stormed the gates and forced their way in. How about that, huh? There you go. See that?
Yep, good for them.
These guys are in their 80s and their 90s, and they have more balls than these politicians. How about that? Yeah. You know what we should do? Let's get these guys to storm Capitol Hill, kick some ass. Yeah, they did it the first time.
But I'll tell you what was really great about that is the park police showed a lot of common sense yesterday.
Yes, which rarely happens.
But they just said, fine, let them go, right? I mean, yeah. It wasn't like they were storming inside of a building. It's an outdoor monument, and so...
I think I saw a quote from one of them said, what are we supposed to do? Go over there and detain a 90-year-old war veteran?
In his wheelchair?
Yeah.
No, exactly. So coming up, we're going to start off this hour with John Decker from SiriusXM Radio. He was there. He covered at the White House the last shutdown 17 years ago. Talk to him about that experience, whether this is all deja vu all over again for him. We'll also be joined by Congressman Henry Cuellar in studio with us in the next hour. But first...
This is the Full Court
What do you got, Dan?
Other headlines making news on this Wednesday. Conservative columnist George Will is leaving his commentating position at ABC News, heading over to Fox News. Will has been a regular panelist on ABC's This Week Sunday mornings for over 30 years. The Huffington Post reports ABC has moved the base of the show to New York from Washington to accommodate George Stephanopoulos, and that played a major role in George Will's decision. The Washington Post writer will be a contributor to Fox on a daily basis.
You know, I like George Will. Don't always agree with him, but I like him. He's a very thoughtful guy. He's a very smart guy. I don't know. I think this is a mistake. I mean, you expect a guy like him on Fox. You don't expect a guy like him on ABC, and I always think he brings a refreshing counter kind of argument to the discussions there. So, but
I think that's a very good assessment of the whole situation.
You know, I mean, if I were him, I would have stayed at ABC. But
sure.
The Pittsburgh Pirates have advanced into the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. They beat the Cincinnati Reds 6-2 in the National League wild card game last night, thanks to a couple of homers from Russell Martin and Francisco Liriano, giving up just one run in 7 innings of pitching. To start with, fans they are calling Bucktober. They'll face the St. Louis Cardinals in the NLDS starting tomorrow, but first tonight, it's the American League wild card, Tampa Bay, playing Cleveland.
I thought Tampa Bay had won that. No?
They won to get into the wild card game the night before.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And YouTube is premiering its first ever awards show. The YouTube Awards will air November 3rd, online, of course, but will feature some big names, including Lady Gaga, and performances by some of this year's biggest YouTube successes. They know they won't give the Grammys and the MTV VMAs a run for their money yet, but it's certainly a first big first step.
Wait. YouTube? We're on YouTube.
We are.
YouTube.com/, right? TawkrTV.
We might be up for an award. They're giving out 7 awards for top views and other metrics. Handing out first week in November. Watch it on YouTube.
Were we nominated?
Don't believe so.
We're very, very new.
We're new. We're too new for the nomination.
Plus,
you know what?
Plus, we haven't debuted our new music video.
Right.
Plus, next year, watch out, baby.
You got it.
All right, here we go. Yeah, a lot of people are saying, well, we shut down the government once before. What did we learn then, and what lessons should we be applying now? John Decker covers the White House, a good friend at the briefings, White House briefings for SiriusXM, joining us on our news line this morning. Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Bill. How are you doing?
All right, good. So last time it lasted, 28 days, right?
Well, that was the second one. That was the one that lasted from mid-December through the early part of January 1996. And then there was a 3 or 4 day one that occurred in the middle part of November 1995. So just correcting the record there for you, Bill.
No, I got it. No, it's a question, really, not a statement. But so, is this deja vu all over again for you? I mean, or what are the differences?
You know, there are some similarities. I was struck. You and I were both in the Rose Garden yesterday, the White House Rose Garden yesterday, when the president made some remarks about the shutdown, about the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and it struck me that the language that the president used yesterday was eerily similar to the language that Bill Clinton used back in 1995 and 1996. You know, the words, the rhetoric, extortion, blackmail. We've heard it from Jay Carney as well. Those are the same types of words that we heard from Bill Clinton and George Stephanopoulos when he was a White House aide back in 95 and 96. So that's, I think, very similar. But I think that's where the similarities end. You know, this is different in the sense that back then it was all about budgetary issues. It was about spending. It was about whose budget should the Congress move forward on, the Republican-led Congress's budget or President Clinton's.
Which was a legitimate point of dispute, right? If you have a budget shutdown, it should be about the budget, right?
Absolutely. Now you have this extraneous issue being brought to bear, and that is Obamacare. You know, this is something that, of course, has nothing at all to do with the budget. It has nothing to do with funding the government. The government funding was supposed to start October the 1st. So you have that difference. And then, of course, I think there's some differences in terms of personalities. Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, House Speaker Newt Gingrich back in 95, 96, and House Speaker John Boehner today. I think those are some major differences as well.
Well, the difference between Boehner and Gingrich, as I see it, is Boehner's not leading the charge for the shutdown, right?
I agree completely with you. Back in 95 and 96, there was no question about it that House Speaker Newt Gingrich was leading the charge for his troops, leading the charge for his caucus. This time around, as you just said, John Boehner is being led by an element of his caucus, those 50, 60, 70 members who identify themselves with the Tea Party. Those are the people that are essentially driving this debate. Those are the people that are pushing John Boehner to take the actions that he's taken thus far.
Have you had a chance, John? We're talking with John Decker from SiriusXM. SiriusXM Channel 124 is where you can hear him every day. John, have you had a chance to take a look and see? I'm curious about, and I don't know, how many members of Congress, particularly in the Republican caucus, were around in 1995?
Well, that's a good question. I have not. But, you know, on the Senate side, there has been a little bit of turnover. You know, in the Senate, you find that members stay on for quite a few terms. On the House side, you have had a lot of turnover since that time. So I think you have, by far, a majority of members in the Republican caucus who were not around in 1995.
I'd be willing to bet money on that.
And they watched it on television like so many other people.
But that makes a difference too, right? In the sense that they weren't there, and they sort of feel like a lot of new people do that they're reinventing the wheel. Right?
They do, but what's interesting is what they look at is what was the aftermath of it, and what they see is that in 1996, the midterm elections, and of course it was a presidential year as well, but in 1996, Republicans in the House lost 3 seats, 3 net seats.
Yeah,
they actually gained 2 seats in the U.S. Senate. And so I think that they see, we didn't fare that badly as a result of the government shutdown. Yes, we lost the White House. Bob Dole lost against Bill Clinton. But as far as Congress is concerned, we didn't come off looking that bad. Of course, I think public opinion would tell a different story in terms of what happened back then and what's happening right now as well.
Well, so when you look at back 17 years ago, and you look at today, I mean, we're only 31 hours into this shutdown, but does that give you any sense? You saw that the parties dug in their heels then, and they certainly have dug in their heels now. Does that give you any sense of how long you think this thing could drag on?
It doesn't. One of the reasons that the government shutdown ended back in 1996 is because Bob Dole, the majority leader for Republicans in the Senate, was running for president. He was planning his presidential campaign, and he took to the floor of the Senate and he said the words, "Enough is enough." And that essentially was the end of the government shutdown back then. There is no driving force right now in the Republican Party, and no leader, for that matter, in the Republican Party who can go to the floor of either the House or the Senate and say enough is enough. I don't think.
That's a very good point. Mitch McConnell can't do it because he's up for re-election, right, with the threat of he's got a Tea Party opponent. And then John Boehner can't do it because his speakership is on the line.
No, that's exactly right. And, there's no one else in the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives that would sort of step out on the edge of that diving board and make such a statement. I don't see, Cantor making that statement or McCarthy making that statement. And there aren't, another difference between 95, 96 and now is the term moderate really doesn't exist anymore in the Republican Party, in either the House or the Senate. And I think that's problematic as well in terms of putting an end to this government shutdown.
So, when Paul Ryan yesterday suggested that this might drag on until October 17, when you add the debt ceiling to the equation, and then you really are dealing with a hydrogen bomb, right? I mean, that may in fact happen. It could drag on that long.
I think that it could very well drag on that long, which is unfortunate for so many people. And, we see these personal stories of people being affected by the government shutdown. It's very unfortunate. There are individual lives that are being affected by this, no doubt.
Here he is, John Decker, our brother from SiriusXM, Channel 124. Hey, thanks, John. Thanks for getting up early for us this morning.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
I'll see you a little later at the White House. All right. Thank you, man. All right. John Decker, SiriusXM, Channel 124. Interesting. That thing, God, I hope it doesn't drag on that long, but I can see why,
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine John Boehner ever standing up and saying, enough is enough? He doesn't have the balls to do it. No. Ain't going to happen. We'll be right back. Your calls are always welcome. 866-55-PRESS. Now you see it. Now it's here. How bad is it for you?
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What do you say? This is Bill Press here. We'll be back to today's broadcast with all of our great guests in just a moment here. But first, just a word about Free Speech TV. I started my nationally syndicated radio show in 2005, almost 8 years ago now. And I've also done, think about it, this is my 5th national television show on CNN. I was co-host of Crossfire. I was co-host of The Spin Room. On MSNBC, I was co-host of Buchanan and Press for several years. On Current TV, did a show called Full Court Press, and now the Bill Press Show on Free Speech TV. And I've got to tell you, in all that time, with all those different networks, all those different shows, I never felt as at home and as comfortable and as good about what I'm doing as I do right now on Free Speech TV. I'm so glad to be part of this great network that brings you people like Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman and David Pakman. So proud to join that lineup. But, and this is the kind of media, the reason I feel so comfortable, because Totally independent, totally free to talk about whatever we want to talk about. You get to get involved in the conversation. And that's the kind of broadcasting you'll find nowhere else. It's truly independent, truly transparent, truly truthful, speaking truth to power every day. And that's what we need in this country. But, of course, without any corporate money, without any political ads, without any government money, free speech depends on you to keep us going and to keep this great lineup coming to you every day. So we ask you, if you're already a supporter of free speech, to renew your sponsorship. If you're new to free speech like I am, then join us any way you can. Go to 877-378-8669 and send us whatever support you can. Be as generous as you can. Or you can go to freespeech.org as a little incentive for joining us. Here are a couple of things to consider. If you can give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month, you'll get a signed copy of my book, Toxic Talk, all about right-wing talk radio, who they are, how bad they are, and what the left has to do to get back into talk radio. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, get a copy of Toxic Talk and a copy of my favorite book that I wrote, How the Republicans Stole Religion. They think they have a monopoly on God, and they don't, because God was a liberal, we know that. And if you can do $360 a year, that's $30 a month. These two books, plus a copy of my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, all about the Koch brothers and the billions of dollars that they spend to try to defeat anything that Barack Obama stands for. So we need your help. We ask for your help because we want to continue this great broadcasting again. You can join us by phone at 877-378-8669 and send your pledge, or go on freespeech.org. Be as generous as you can. We'll keep coming to you every day, and thank you.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 24 minutes after the hour. Matt Vasilogambros from the National Journal talking more about the shutdown in the next segment here, next half hour of the Bill Press Show on this Wednesday morning, October 2nd. But what a focus, so we'll get more back to the shutdown, but the other thing related, again, yesterday was day one of people's being able to go to the health exchanges around the country, sign up, or at least not so much sign up. Yesterday was the day for finding out, right? Yesterday was the day for shopping.
Yeah.
And it was the first day it was available. And again, what's very interesting about that is that it was the first day of the government shut down by Republicans because they didn't like Obamacare and they wanted to stop it. Well, they shut down the government, but they didn't stop Obamacare, but because it has nothing to do with this budgetary process. And so the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, went forward as planned, and enabling more people to find out about it and hopefully to sign up. If you heard us, we were talking to, heard earlier in the last hour, talking to Dr. Zeke Emanuel, who used to be at HHS, now at the Center for American Progress, who told us that the number 2.8 million was like early in the afternoon, so there were maybe another million on top of that who actually checked the site yesterday. Unfortunately, there were some glitches found A lot of stories about people who went to the site. And President Obama even talked yesterday in the Rose Garden about the fact that these glitches were due to the traffic, and more people came to the site than they expected, which to me shows a job that they didn't do a very good job of preparing the site. They should have been
ready for it.
They should have been ready. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I went there yesterday to look and see how it was looking as we were doing the show, and I had problems getting on. I mean, they had some issues for sure.
Mm-hmm. So the good news is so many people went to the website. The bad news is that the website couldn't handle all of those people. But it does show, which I think is very positive, that despite all the negativity that we've heard, right, for the last 3 years about the Affordable Care Act, people are genuinely curious. And you know why? Because it's so basic and it's so important to have that kind of coverage for them and for their family. Robert is out down in Lawrence, South Carolina on Free Speech TV. Hey, Robert, what do you say?
Well, I think what's going on is they're wanting to delay the implementation of the Obamacare in hopes they'll get a clean sweep next November and be able to abolish it. I'm talking about the right-wing Republicans.
Yeah, well, they always want to delay and then try to abolish, but they tried that in 2012, right?
Yes, they did.
Between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. It didn't work so well then, did it, Robert?
No, it didn't work good at all.
Yeah, that may be what they're up to, but I'll tell you, this time they're not going to get away with it. I'll tell you what else they're not going to get away with. They're not going to get away with any more of a piecemeal shutdown of the government. This attempt yesterday for the Republicans to say, okay, we'll give up on the national parks. We'll reopen the national parks, or we're still going to give everything else shut down. That's not going to work. More about the shutdown with Matt Vasilogambros from the National Journal coming up next on The Bill Press Show.
This is The Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Packman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as I told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah, what the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
There are a whole bunch of things that I'd like to see pass through Congress that the House Republicans haven't passed yet. And I'm not out there saying, well, I'm going to let America default unless Congress does something that they don't want to do. That's not how adults operate.
This is the Bill Press Show.
There you go, at 33 minutes after the hour. A frustrated President Obama in the Rose Garden yesterday. I was there tweeting from the... when I tweet from the Rose Garden, it comes out as the Rosé Garden on my Twitter feed. As some,
damn autocorrect.
As your followers know with the autocorrect. And there's nothing I can do about it. I showed it to a reporter standing alongside me, and I said, look at this, I just can't. And he said, I'd like a glass of rosé.
Yeah, right you can fix it.
We had to wait a half an hour for the president yesterday.
You can totally fix it, but why would you? If it's Rosé Garden, just keep it Rosé Garden.
Keep it a Rosé Garden at any rate. And the president was talking about the shutdown. Of course, we are now, what is it now? Oops, we're in a commercial break. So it's about 31 hours and some minutes into the government shutdown. Day 2, Matt Vasilogambros has been staying on top of this from the beginning and all through yesterday from the National Journal, joining us in our studio this morning. Hi, Matt. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
There is a positive side to this. You have reported that this may help with getting a date because people had a lot of time on their hands yesterday. So there were people coming up with shutdown pickup lines. I mean, this is one aspect of the shutdown I haven't seen anybody else cover.
Well, I mean, if you're thinking...
Like, for example...
Yes.
Yes.
Well, for example, baby, I let the government shut down just so I could spend the whole day with you. I think that was a good one. And there's plenty of others.
I saw one that was, it's not like we have to go to work tomorrow,
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's
such a depressing situation. You might as well find some humor in it. So those really picked up and got people kind of laughing a little, which was great.
Good. And probably got people trying to use the line.
Trying to use Twitter. Or here's another one. Honey, you are always essential to me. Right. So that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's good. So yesterday, what happened on the Hill? Not much, huh?
No, the House Republicans try to do this piecemeal deal where they just divide up each part of the federal government. And yesterday they chose 3 really popular issues.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Federal parks, vets affairs, and then D.C. The funny thing about D.C. is that, they're self-sustaining. They have their own budget. This is just freeing them up to use their own money. And there was some laughter on the floor yesterday when Republicans were saying, we want to pass this because we care about D.C.
Oh, yeah,
and,
right.
And for folks who have lived in the district for a long time, that it's, truthfully, it's Republicans that are blocking them from becoming a state or having their own
a vote.
Yeah, their own vote or even controlling their own budget. But, that didn't stop Eleanor
Holmes Norton.
She gave a great speech.
She went ballistic yesterday.
She completely bucked the Democratic leadership. I mean, she wants her own she wants her own autonomy. And she went against them on this issue.
So they tried, but they sort of got outsmarted themselves in a sense yesterday, because they pushed this through in a way that would require a 3/4 vote, right? And they could not get 3/4 vote.
Right. It was a suspension vote. They wanted to clear the rules, so they had to get 3/4. It wasn't like a normal majority vote.
Yeah.
And they had nowhere near the votes. I mean, they got 33, 34 votes per vote, but they needed like 60 or 70, and they weren't even close
and
to
the president pointed out, the president said, the White House yesterday said that if they try this piecemeal thing, the president's going to veto any piecemeal
thing. They would have vetoed. He would have vetoed it. The Senate Democrats wouldn't have taken it up. And I think Harry Reid today is going to continue to say that they're not going to accept anything except for a clean CR. And the Democrat and the president said the exact same thing. Now, I mean, this is kind of worrisome, because it looks like the House Republicans are going to continue with this strategy. They're going to continue for the next however many days to say we're going to break up the federal government into little pieces. And at the end of it, they're banking on the fact that, look, the Democrats are the ones that are keeping this shut down.
Yeah, well, that may be their strategy.
Yeah.
And we have seen their demands, rather than escalating, have actually been diminishing. I mean, because they started, we want to kill Obamacare. All right, can't do that. All right, we'll defund it. Okay, we can't do it. We'll delay it for a year. We can't do that. Well, we'll delay the individual mandate for a year. No, we can't do that. Well, we'll get rid of this medical device tax. No, well, we can't do that. Now we'll have a conference committee. Oh, they won't do that. All right, now we'll reopen the national parks. Oh, well, we can't. You know what? So they keep trying everything, and all of them are non-starters, right?
They're all non-starters. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to work.
Tell us about this. So the conference committee.
Right.
6 months ago, the Senate passes a budget.
Yeah.
The House passes its Paul Ryan budget. And what you do then, is go to a conference committee.
Right.
Harry Reid appointed his conference members. Nancy Pelosi appointed the Democrats from the House. For 6 months, John Boehner has refused to. The reason there hasn't been any resolution of this budget before is he refused to appoint his members of the conference committee. So the conference committee could not meet. Suddenly, yesterday, bingo, he appoints the conference committee members.
Yeah, and,
right?
they're in a conference room with no one on the other side except for cameras. It was a nice photo op. Yeah. But everyone's surprised that this snuck up on us, that this was the shutdown. I mean, I think after the sequester, I don't think anyone should have been surprised that this could have happened, and it did.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
No, and given the people we're dealing with, I don't think we should have been surprised. But the thing I found funny about the photo op is they thought this made them look good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had, 6 or 7 all white males sitting at this table, right? Sort of didn't make the Republican Party look
the
like
optics,
it was.
the optics aren't really there.
No.
But I think though what this whole thing shows you is that the real test is going to be, Jack Lew yesterday said the debt ceiling is up in like 2 weeks, and so if the government shutdown lasts for another 2 weeks, then now you have the debt ceiling in as a playing card.
Which makes it even worse.
And so then you might have a situation where Harry Reid says, we're not going to pass a federal budget without raising the debt ceiling. But then that goes against his entire premise this entire time, that we need a clean CR.
Well, I wanted to get there next with you because, first of all, is there any one of the reporters I was talking with yesterday at the White House said that the problem that he sees is the Republicans keep digging in their heels, but they do not have an exit strategy.
No, I don't think you see that. I mean, they still have their own internal battle coming. I think Politico had a really good report yesterday about how, I think Harry Reid's office leaked some emails from the Speaker. And the Speaker's office has been trying behind the scenes to work with the Democrats. And it kind of shows you that, Speaker Boehner is on a different playing field than some members of his own caucus. And some of those conservative members and the leadership are butting heads. And I don't think he has a strategy because I don't think the caucus is united. I mean, they do come off as united, to be fair. They come off as united in their votes, but... Yeah,
right. But we know there's a lot. And Peter King has been very outspoken.
And so John McCain, yeah.
He's trying to round up votes in the House. John McCain and others, Bob Corker and others in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate's pretty clear. I mean, that most of them, other than Ted Cruz, are disgusted with the shenanigans in the House. But with that division inside the Republican Party, makes it all the more likely that, as Paul Ryan suggested yesterday, this could drag on till October 17. Right?
I think it's very likely that it will.
Good Lord.
So, I mean, our friends and everyone who in this city is affected by it, who's furloughed, they may have thought it was kind of funny yesterday. They may have gone out. But, after a while, they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of young people.
It's not going to be funny a week from now or 2 weeks from now when they would be getting their paycheck, and they don't.
I'm just saying there's a lot of young people in this town who thought that public service was honorable, and so they went there, and they don't get paid a lot of money. And obviously, if they're not getting paid here, that's huge for them. And it's really unfortunate that they're being dragged into this political debate.
What was it? Huffington Post has it today. 800. So there are 800,000 federal employees, not all furloughed, not all here in the nation's capital, but a good percentage of them. Excuse me for just 1 second. I know I'm off the microphone. The Huffington Post took that down. But that 800,000 is if you furloughed everybody, as I recall now, Peter, help me out, from who worked for Target, GM, Exxon, and Google.
Wow.
Those 4 corporations, if you fired everybody who were furloughed, everybody who worked for them, that would be the equivalent of the 800,000. I mean, it's a lot of real people not getting paid and not.
There are, but sometimes though you have to see that in terms of the bad politics. I mean, the White House yesterday did a stunt that I didn't think was smart. I mean, they shut down their Instagram account to say, we don't have enough staff to maintain this, while they were still tweeting nonstop and were posting photos of the president and everything. So that, they were trying to reach young people. But sometimes politics plays a little both ways, just to put that out there. But, it's the major issue is about these furloughed employees and about a member from Maryland yesterday gave a really impassioned speech about Barbara Mikulski, about how the National Institutes of Health and others are based in Maryland, and they're shut down and they're not researching, and inspections for food is not a lot. A lot of it's not.
It's not just with NIH, as we stated earlier. Not just that they're not doing their research. Every week for the shutdown, NIH reported yesterday there are 10 kids with cancer who will not be able to go to clinical trials. Every week, 200 patients will be turned away by NIH, most of them dealing with cancer, and 30% of them, 30 kids among those 200.
Yeah, so 3/4 of the staff at NIH furloughed.
Right. Matt Vasilogambros is here from the National Journal. Talk about the impact of the shutdown. How has it affected you? What have you seen so far, and how long do you think it might last? And any doubt about who's to blame? 866-55-PRESS. Let's talk about it here on the
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Pakman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah, what the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show on Facebook. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, 12 minutes before the top of the hour, Congressman Henry Cuellar from Texas, right in the middle of all the battles in the House. He will be taking time out to come in studio with us at the top of the next hour here on The Bill Press Show. Right now, I'm at Vasilogambros from, not yet a member of Congress, from the National Journal. Here in the studio with us. We're talking the shutdown. We were checking out during the break the website. We know who's running the show, right? It is Ted Cruz. He's screwing up, putting sand in the wheels of the Senate, if you will, but also the House. The House is following his direction too. So somebody came up, the group American Bridge came up with this website, SpeakerCruz.com. Showing him taking the gavel from John Boehner. I'm sure Boehner doesn't like all this talk about Ted Cruz is really in charge.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't.
Well, we don't know. We don't know maybe who's in charge, but it's not Ted Cruz. I mean, it's not John Boehner. We know that, right?
Yeah.
What do you got,
Quick
Peter?
story, because while we're talking about the shutdown, Hyundai Motors yesterday put out a statement. They said that any affected employees who have been furloughed and they own Hyundai vehicles, they will not have to pay their car payment as long as they are out of work, is what their statement said. So they're going to be given payment relief. Don't have to pay your car payment. Lay low, take care of business, but that's one thing you don't have to worry about. And if you are looking to buy a new car and you're a furloughed employee, they'll be given a 90-day payment deferral.
Whoa. So, I mean, if we're talking about things that's a great one. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening right now in D.C. to affected furloughed workers in terms of they were giving out free burgers at Z Burger up in Columbia Heights, Six and I, which is a synagogue and also like a really good community center. Great concerts there. They had all day West Wing reruns and ping pong, and I mean all over the district. 930 Club is giving out buy one get another free ticket for their shows this week. So there's a lot of great places in D.C. that are giving out some stuff to affected federal workers.
So look on the bright side.
Hey.
You just have to show your ID.
You just have to show your federal ID.
All right, now speaking of showing here, the New York Times this morning has, I've been trying to find out with every member of Congress comes in exactly how many of these hardliners are and like who they are, because they're running the show. They're the ones really. And the New York Times this morning identifies them. 20 of them got their names and their faces. Now, they get more votes than this when they bring it up to a vote. But this is basically what we're talking about. There are 435 members of Congress. These 20 are running the show. I mean, these 20 are in charge. These 20 are leading Boehner around by the nose. I mean, we've never seen anything like that before.
Well, I mean,
have we?
I see, three of them I see are Steve King, Michelle Bachman, and Louis Gohmert.
Yeah,
and those are some of the three, biggest
Wackiest.
figures. They went to. You're gonna make me lose my job. I can't do that.
I know. I said it. You didn't say it. Yeah.
But you saw them go to Egypt. Those three, and then yesterday at the World War II Memorial.
Yeah.
They show up. Steve King cuts the tape. Louis Gohmert throws down the barrier, and they led a bunch of World War II vets, which was, I guess, a nice event, but I don't think any of the members had to be there, but they got a lot of
it was a
attention
nice
for
event, but they're the ones that shut the damn thing down, right? And then they go down and cut the tape. I mean, they're such, I will say it, you don't have to say it, they are such hypocrites, but again, this is the tyranny of the minority, this is the tyranny of the extreme fringe minority.
But I wonder, every time that another crisis comes about, they always ask, is Speaker Boehner going to lose his speakership? And, it never happens, and then we kind of brush off all these things. I still don't know if that argument has any traction on it. So
here's Patrick. Patrick is calling from Chicago. Hey, Patrick, what do you say? Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, sir.
Yeah.
I had two questions for you, one on the government shutdown and one on Obamacare.
All right, I'll try. Go ahead.
Okay, from the mathematics of it, since you keep talking that 2 weeks we're going to hit the debt ceiling, but if we've really reduced the government spending because of the shutdown, won't that delay the debt ceiling, hitting it?
Well, all I can tell you is Jack Lew, who's the Treasury Secretary, who knows a hell of a lot more than I do about the flow of money in and out, says October 17.
Okay.
So I think we could take his word for it, Patrick. Yeah.
All right. And the second one is just my lack of knowledge. I know the enrollment started on yesterday. It goes until March. I don't quite understand, why does it end, and what happens to somebody in April?
You know what? That's a very good question. First of all, I do know the coverage doesn't kick in until January. You have 6 months to sign up. I believe that, Matt, you correct me if you know, that you can sign up in April. I don't think there's any, it cuts off that you can't sign up. It's just they've given 6 months to really try to get people in. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, it's a push. It's a
push. It's a push. So, Patrick, I would not advise you to wait till April, but if you did wait till April, as long as you still qualify, you might even qualify for a subsidy, you could still buy Obamacare after March.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we just scratched the surface here, Matt. But we'll see what games they play on the Hill today, whether we can get out of this shutdown or not, or whether we're going to day 3. My feeling is it's going to be here. We're going to be here.
We're going to be here for quite a while.
And
we'll be covering it too. So it's going to be for a while, and tell our furloughed friends out there to get comfortable.
NationalJournal.com is where you can follow Matt's work and all of his good friends over there at the National Journal. Thanks for coming in today.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
I'll come back and tell you what the president's up to today.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, Congressman Henry Cuellar from Texas is a real charger. He's a real lightning rod in the United States Congress. He's going to be here in studio in the next hour. You won't be able to watch on Free Speech TV, however, but you can continue to watch the program on our video stream. Go to youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKRTV. Another big hour coming up for the Bill Press Show this Wednesday morning. You don't want to miss it. TawkrTV.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, the big news about the president's schedule is he has curtailed, shut back a little bit on his big trip to Asia starting this weekend. He will still be going to Indonesia and Brunei, but the White House announcing he has canceled his stops in the Philippines and Malaysia. Today, the president gets a daily briefing with the vice president at 10:30. At noon, he'll be meeting with members of the Financial Services Forum. Then he, in the Roosevelt Room, then he and the vice president have lunch. They meet with Secretary of Treasury Jack Lew this afternoon, late 4:30, and Jay Carney's news conference at 1 o'clock today.
This is the Bill Press Show. Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go. Day 2 of the government shutdown. We are 32 hours and 6 minutes into it with still no end in sight and no exit strategy. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you today. It's Wednesday, October 2nd. This is the Bill Press Show. We are coming to you live across this great country of ours, coast to coast, on your local progressive talk radio station, of course, and on our video stream at TawkrTV, youtube.com/Tawker, TAWKR, TawkrTV. Coming to you from our nation's capital, where government is shut down and 800,000 federal employees are not at the job and not getting a paycheck, not just here in Washington, but around the country. Congressman Henry Cuellar, member of the Democratic caucus, of course, is right in the middle of the battles on Capitol Hill, and we're lucky to have him in studio with us this morning. Congressman, good to see you.
It's a pleasure being here with you.
Thanks for stopping down on your way to work. We're just 6 blocks away from the Capitol.
That is right.
Good to see you, and joining our team here, Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Hey.
Good morning.
With Alicia Cruz on the phones, and Cyprian Bolden keeping us looking good on the Cyprian on the video cam. Yeah. So, Congressman, as you know, there's a lot of the health. We talk about the shutdown, but the health exchanges on Obamacare also kicked off yesterday. And there's a lot of confusion out there among the American people as to what Obamacare is all about, what's available, what's not. Jimmy Kimmel, the great late-night comedian, so he sent a reporter out to ask people on the street which they prefer, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. Here's how that went.
We're talking about health care today, and which plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And what is it about Obamacare that you do not like?
I just think that there's a lot of holes in it, and it needs to be revamped. I think hasn't been thought out.
You think the Affordable Care Act is a better plan than Obamacare?
Better, but I'm not happy with that either.
What do you agree with, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I'm more sort towards the Affordable Care Act.
All right, so that's
I'm also there.
It goes on and on like that, and which is interesting, but it does show we've got a long ways to go, right? It's been in the law of the land for 3 years, but still a lot of Americans don't know what's out there.
You're actually right about that. I've talked to folks, hey, do you want to keep your preventive care for seniors? Oh, yeah. You want to be able to keep your kids from ages 22 to 26 on the insurance? Oh, yeah. But I'm against the Obamacare. It's amazing. If you break it down to little pieces, they're okay. But if you talk about it as a Obamacare, people are just, it's amazing. I hadn't heard that, but I think that's
but
really
you know what?
so
Also,
true.
this tells me that the name, the Affordable Care Act, right, is a good name. I mean, people that appeals to people. And then you put the word Obama on it. For a lot of people, that's enough to turn them off, right? So it's just crazy.
Yeah, they put a screen over their eyes and they just won't look at it. It's absolutely careful about that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, in my district, for example, in South Texas, I got 3 districts, probably the 3 counties that probably have the most uninsured in the whole country. Hidalgo, Webb County, Stark County, 38% of the people have no insurance.
Whoa.
In Laredo, my hometown, ages 18 to 64, because otherwise they have Medicare or they have CHIP, you're talking about 51% working people that have no insurance. So this healthcare, affordable healthcare, Obamacare, is going to be very important to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got to get the word out. So we'll be talking with the congressman here about the battle over the government shutdown. A little bit later, Anton Gunn, who is Director of External Affairs for the HHS, will be joining us on our news line. And Congressman, we'll get right to the issues of the day. But first, Dan always has the top headlines.
Press. I do. Some other headlines making news on this Wednesday. The government shutdown is having more of an effect than just on jobs, parks, and museums. Sports fans could be disappointed this weekend as the sold-out Navy Air Force football game in Annapolis at the Naval Academy could be canceled. USA Today reports officials will make a decision on that tomorrow, but already any scheduled collegiate athletic events for yesterday, today, and tomorrow have been canceled for all military sports teams.
Ooh, that's right? Big time. Yeah, that's gonna turn a lot of people off. Yeah. Well,
it just shows like every aspect of life is sort of getting touched by this.
But you know what? Don't blame Obama. Blame John Boehner.
Yeah.
Conservative columnist George Will is leaving his commentating position at ABC News after over 30 years, sitting alongside George Stephanopoulos at the This Week desk on Sunday mornings. He's been a regular panelist there. He is now heading to Fox News to become a everyday Fox contributor.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I like George. I like him a lot, and I think he's had a great presence on ABC all these years. And he's just going to be one more conservative at Fox. But he was the intelligent, thoughtful conservative voice on ABC, and stood out there for that reason. But follow the money.
And in sports, the NFL is getting tough with Glendale, Arizona, the host city of the 2015 Super Bowl, saying shape up or we are shipping out. USA Today Sports reporting the Football League feels the city is not where it needs to be in preparation for the big game that is still almost a year and a half away. And they say the city does not sound generally excited about hosting the game. NFL says if Glendale doesn't get its act together, they will move all non-game festivities leading up to the Super Bowl to other cities, namely Phoenix, and only will play the game at the stadium in Glendale. The city says it is working hard to catch up and will be ready for Super Bowl 49.
I don't even know where Glendale, Arizona is.
It's outside of Phoenix. It's where the Cardinals play.
It's where the Cardinals play? Yeah. Well, bring the Super Bowl here to Washington.
Sure.
So, Congressman, before we get into this shutdown and the exit strategy, I do have to ask you about the new Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker Ted Cruz. It seems he's running the House these days, isn't he?
It's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of folks who are listening to him. What Boehner's having right now, he has a war. Not with the Democrats, but he has a war within his own party. Moderates, I've talked to a lot of those moderate Republicans, they're not happy, but there's this small percentage of Tea Party Republicans that really control what's happening right now. That's the war that he's facing within his own party.
Is Ted Cruz, and with his phony filibuster and this hard line in the Senate where he's alienated a lot of his fellow Senate Republicans, how's he received back in Texas?
It was interesting. When he first ran, he said he was going to be he put his father in a Spanish commercial to talk about immigration reform. So I looked at that and said, I wonder if he's going to be for immigration reform. And, of course, he's not been very supportive.
No.
So it's very, very interesting. He won because now Texas has shifted over far right in a Republican primary. And that's why a lot of my fellow Republican congressmen are afraid to take certain positions because what could happen to them in the primary. They're going to be primaried.
And that element of the Republican Party, I guess, is enthusiastic about what Ted Cruz is doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at this. So look at the head of the Republican Congressional Committee, Pete Sessions. He's got a primary. They call him a rhino, that he's a Republican in name only. Here's the person who ran the Republican Congressional Committee. He's got a primary because they don't feel he's conservative enough. That's what's happening in Texas. But at the same time, the Hispanic population, we're about 38%, and it's growing, and we're trying to do everything to turn it blue. Once we turn Texas blue, it's going to be so hard for a Republican to win the presidency in the United States.
Yeah. In fact, maybe what I've read is if we turn Texas blue, it might be impossible for Republicans ever to get enough. Now, the New York Times this morning, Congressman, has, and I've been waiting to see this because you keep hearing about the Tea Partiers and the hardliners in the House who are really controlling the agenda. And the New York Times this morning identifies 20 as these are the ringleaders. I'm sure you know them all, but it includes Louis Gohmert and Steve King and Michelle Bachmann here. How can it be that these 20 people who want to shut down the government, how can it be that they are running the show? Because there are 435 members of Congress.
But you get 232 Republicans. You minus those 20 people. You get below 218. They don't have a majority. And that is what Boehner's afraid of. If he's going to try to keep the Hastert rule, try to say we're going to do the majority, he's worried about a revolt where he's going to lose the speakership. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Those 20 people opposed to the moderate Republicans that I've talked to that want to work this out. These are the 20 people. Imagine, I think it was this gentleman right here who said, when Speaker Boehner in a Republican...
You're talking about Tim Huelskamp from Kansas.
Right.
Right.
I think it was him who said, he said, Boehner did talk to us about what happened in the 1990s. He talked to us about the dangers. And he said, that was the Speaker's opinion. That's the experience he had in last century. This is a new time. In other words, whatever happened in the 1990s doesn't matter. So this is the new mentality of this Republican Tea Party, that they just don't want to compromise. And the way redistricting has been done, Bill, they feel that confrontation is better than consensus in the way redistricting has made those districts.
Because they don't have to worry about it.
That's right.
No, exactly. So we're at loggerheads right now. Do the Republicans have an exit strategy? I mean, yesterday they tried this piecemeal approach, right?
Right. No, we voted against it. Because, I mean, why are you going to cherry pick certain agencies? What about the other federal employees? What about the other government services?
Sure.
And if they can do a clean CR and an individual, let's do the whole thing. Why are we playing political games? They put it in suspension yesterday because they know that they were not going to have enough votes because we're going to vote. So they can put a lot of us on the record to show, and I know this, one of my Republicans says, you voted against veterans, you know this, you know. So I mean, it's all political games that they're playing.
And is that what you expect them to continue, like today when you go back? Is there going to be another attempt like that?
Yeah, I think they're going to go back and put this on what we call regular order, because they were doing this on suspension to put it. They know they're going to lose it. Say they voted, because you got to have a certain amount of votes on this.
Yeah.
The other thing you got to look at, and this is something, is I think they're going to wait till the debt ceiling in. I thought it was going to be. I didn't think government was going to shut down. I said, I'm an optimist. I didn't think it was going to happen. I think now they're going to wait to the debt ceiling so they can put that together.
So we're talking probably another 2 weeks of a government shutdown.
I think. I mean, the way they sound, they sound pretty confident that they're winning.
And that's 800,000 federal employees who won't just miss a day without pay, who will miss 2 weeks, 3 weeks without pay.
We're losing, I think I've seen different...
that's a big impact on people who are not making that much money in the first place.
Listen, the federal employees are being treated like second class by some of those Tea Party folks. They got families, they got daycare, they got home mortgages they got to pay for. Why are we putting them as political pawns? And that's what they're doing. I don't hear a lot of those Republicans say, you know what, I'm giving my pay up as those federal employees do that. I don't see any of the Republicans standing up and say, I'm going to give up my pay to do that. Our senator, you saw what Joaquin Castro did. They asked them, are you going to give up your pay? He said, no, I'm not. They put so much pressure on him that he turned around and said, okay, I'll give up my pay. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing. What about those federal employees? We're forgetting about the federal employees.
No, exactly. Congressman Henry Cuellar here in studio with us. Your comments on the shutdown, you've seen it, and you're probably just starting to feel the impact. And I guess, the ultimate question is who's to blame, and then how long will it last, and how do we get out of it? Let's talk about it here with Congressman on the Bill Press Show. The number 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show. Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
On a Wednesday morning, October 2nd, 24 minutes after the hour, in studio with us, Congressman Henry Cuellar from Texas, talking shutdown and the Affordable Care Act. I want to get to that in just a second, Congressman. I started out by asking you about Ted Cruz. There's a lot of excitement about State Senator Wendy Davis. Yes. How do you think things look? She's definitely going to run for governor. Hasn't officially announced yet, but we all know she's going to run, right?
Yeah, she's going to run. She kind of reminds me of a younger Ann Richards, if you look at it. She speaks very well. She's great. I was in California with Nancy Pelosi. In fact, at Nancy Pelosi's home, Wendy Davis was there I guess a couple months ago. So we got her. We got the Castros, Joaquin and Julian Castro. We got a lot of members of the state legislatures that are ready to go up also. What we haven't done for so many years, and this is one thing I complain, is the Nationals would come in, take millions of dollars, and would not do anything to build the infrastructure. So since Ann Richards and John Sharp and Gary Morrow and all those statewide officials, Jim Maddox, a good friend of mine when he was alive, we had a lot of folks that built the infrastructure. When they lost or they died, what happened was nobody built the infrastructure. The National just came, took money, but now Battleground Texas is trying to make a difference now.
So do you think Texas can and will turn blue?
It will. It's just a matter of time. In my opinion, probably 4 to 6 years. I don't think it'll happen by next year, but we're making we got to build that foundation, and it will turn. And Bill, like you and I said right before this, you turn Texas blue, it's going to be so hard for a Republican to win a presidency after Texas turns blue.
Now, the Republicans have shut down the government over their dislike of the Affordable Care Act. Is Obamacare here to stay, Congressman?
You mean the affordable health care?
Yeah.
No,
yes, right. Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, just kidding. Obamacare. Yes, it's here to stay. I voted for it, and it was the right thing to do. I know a lot of folks got upset at me in my congressional district, but it was the right thing to do. You know, my district, 1/3 of the people have no insurance. But let me tell you what's happening right now. We're here I'm on the appropriations. We should be talking about how much money we spend for discretionary funding, because the rest is on automatics, the entitlements that we have. Nobody's talked about that. Everybody's talking about health care. The Republicans have done a good job at saying, look at my right hand over here. Don't watch my left hand over here. And what's happened, if you look at this, we were talking about, I think the president was $1.2 trillion in discretionary funding. In appropriations, we had voted, with our leader, Nita Lowry, $1,058 trillion. The Republicans were, I think Ryan was at $966 billion for discretionary funding. Where are we at now? We're at 986. We're closer to Paul Ryan's numbers than the president's number. And we fought it over here. Now nobody's paying attention. Wait till we talk about those numbers when reality comes in and hits us on what those numbers mean.
This is what a lot of people are not aware of. You gave me this chart that shows this, so that even Democrats now with Republicans, right, that there are going to be a lot of cuts already, right?
Right.
And so this shut down the government is not really overspending with Obamacare, right? It's over.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about numbers. We're not talking about getting rid of sequester.
Yeah.
We're talking about other things.
Right. It is, and then with the debt ceiling coming up, which is going to just compound our problems on October 17. And this thing could drag on that long, couldn't it?
I didn't think we were going to do a shutdown. I thought reasonable minds on the Republican side will come up. But again, there's 20 individuals here plus that are really controlling it.
Congressman, well, let's go back to work. Thanks for coming in today.
This is the Bill Press Show.
514.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, now 33 minutes after the hour on a Wednesday morning, October 2nd. So two big things happened yesterday, the bad and the good. The bad news, of course, government shut down. We're now 32 hours into what President Obama yesterday repeatedly called the Republican shutdown. That's the bad news. The good news is the Affordable Care Act, available now for the first time to 30 million Americans who do not have health insurance where they work, but now can buy it through the health exchanges around the land. How did that launch go yesterday? We're joined here on our newsline by the Director of the Office of Intergovernmental and External Affairs at the Health and Human Services Agency, Mr. Anton Gunn. Anton, good to have you with us this morning. Good morning.
It's great to be with you this morning. Thank you for the time.
All right. So this was the big rollout yesterday. How many people went to the site?
Well, it's so amazing that Americans now get this opportunity, and we've heard that people say nobody wants health care, nobody needs this, et cetera, but in the first 15 hours that healthcare.gov was up on October the 1st, we had 2.8 million people visit the site. And we had an additional 81,000 people call our call center, and 60,000 people were online doing live web chats, talking about health insurance options for them and trying to find out how they can get enrolled in coverage. And so it's an amazing day. It's a historic day yesterday that enrollment has begun. And so we know that this is a big deal to a lot of people, and it was a tremendously unexpected high volume that we've had. So we're speeding up the process. Wait times are coming down from yesterday. So the system is functioning. People are starting to start and finish their enrollment process online, and we expect to continue improving as it takes to roll people as we go out through the day.
Now, I was at the Rose Garden yesterday with the president and the secretary, your boss there, yes. Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, where yes. Even the president acknowledged that there were some glitches the first day. What happened?
Yes. Well, there's always glitches whenever you launch any kind of new product. So whether it's the operating system that Apple launched, or just think about when people go to Ticketmaster for a big concert and they all log on at the same time. Sometimes there's a freeze up. There's sometimes some challenges, and so the good thing is that we're trying to work through those processes. The site is functioning, is working very well. So we just got to work through a few bugs, but that's to be expected because that's what always happens with any kind of product launch.
Do you have figures on how many people actually signed up? And I understand that it's just like buying a car, right? You don't buy necessarily the first day when you look at the site to see what's out there. But are people shopping, or are they actually signing up? What do you find?
Well, it's a little bit of both. And so the people are getting through the enrollment process. They're going to the website. They're filling out the application, completing that part to see what they qualify for, to see if they qualify for Medicaid or whether they get tax credits or whether they can find a more affordable policy than what they have now. And then they're getting to the plan compare part of the site, which is they're taking their time, making sure that they find a plan that meets their needs and fits their budget, and then making a decision. So this will continue to be the process. I mean, it's like anything else. Like you said, buying a car, buying a computer, or even doing your taxes online. So people sometimes don't do it all in one sitting. They'll do it immediately, and they'll save where they are, and they'll come back the next day. So the beautiful thing is we have a 6-month open enrollment period, and we have basically from now until March 31st of next year for people to pick a plan, enroll in coverage, and find something that meets their need and fits their budget.
So healthcare.gov, is it available in all 50 states?
That's correct, and that's a great question. So no matter where you are, whether you live in Texas, Florida, California, New York, Tennessee, it doesn't matter where you live, all 50 states, you can go to healthcare.gov right now. You can create an account, log in, and move through the process. you can call our call center in all 50 states.
And what is that number? Yeah.
That number is 1-800-318-2596. Again, 1-800-318-2596.
Yeah, we should put that out, Peter, on our website as well. The president mentioned that yesterday in the Rose Garden as well. Now, you mentioned this 6-month open enrollment, and we had a very basic question that stumped me, Anton, a little early on our program. So what happens April 1? If you haven't signed up in the 6-month period, can you still sign up after April 1?
Well, there's only a few people who will be able to allow to sign up for coverage after April 1. And what do I mean by that is that everybody should enroll during this open enrollment period. And the only folks that are given some special enrollment periods is, let's say, if you had a life event that changed. So let's say you lost your job at the end of April and you lost your coverage, you can enroll in coverage. Or maybe you got married, or maybe you had a baby, or you had some other kind of life event. So there are some exceptions for people that can enroll after April 1, but the vast majority of us should be enrolled in coverage by March 31st. If you don't already have coverage on your job from your employer, this is for those who are uninsured, who buy their coverage individually and are looking for a better deal, but everybody should enroll by March 31st.
But I don't understand that. I mean, the Affordable Care Act is, I believe, not going to go away. It's here to stay, like Social Security and like Medicare, right? And there are people who never qualified for Social Security each year who then do qualify and who sign up. The same thing with Medicare. Won't that be the same thing with Affordable Care? How can you only have a one-time only 6-month sign-up period?
Well, the way the program works is very similar to employer-based coverage, or the same way Medicare open enrollment is that there is a period in which people can select a plan, pick a plan, and change a plan. Right. So there will be an open enrollment period every year. So
every year, okay.
This first year is just a 6-month window for open enrollment. So we have an extended open enrollment this first year. But next year, open enrollment starts on October 1st, and it goes to December 15th, and your plan coverage year starts on January 1. So this will be consistent with Medicare, consistent with many private employers who give their employees a window to select a plan, pick a plan, and then they have to carry that plan for the full year.
Now, I know it's hard to come up with an average, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Have you figured out an average of what health insurance will cost for an average American family of 4 under Obamacare?
Well, see, that's very hard because insurance is regulated on the state level. So the state of California is completely different from the state of South Carolina.
Different
population
rates,
is different.
Yeah.
So the rates will be a little different. But here's what we do know. When we've looked at the rates of the 17 state-based exchanges as well as the rates in the marketplaces that we're running, we put out a study last week that showed that 6 in 10 Americans may pay less than $100 a month for health insurance when you count in their subsidy, and it all depends upon their family size. And so $100 a month is cheaper than many people's cell phone bill every single month. So, there's an opportunity for people to get affordable coverage. And again, it all depends on their family size. That's why we tell people to go to healthcare.gov. They're going to ask you for your family size, your income, and then they'll qualify you to see what you may be eligible for. And some people in some states didn't know it, but they may be eligible for free health insurance under their state's Medicaid program. So we encourage everybody to go to healthcare.gov and see what's there for you and what you can qualify for.
And final question I have to go is, what is the for subsidies? What is your income bracket, or what's the?
That's great. So I'll give it to you for a family of 4. So if you're a family of 4 between $31,000 a year and $95,000 a year is where you're eligible for a subsidy. So not up to $95,000 a year. And if you wanted to put it in an individual framework, if you make more than $15,000 a year and less than $43,000 a year is where you're eligible for the subsidy.
But a family of 4 up to $95,000, you could still qualify for a subsidy.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's even going beyond middle class, I think.
That's a lot of families.
That is a lot of families, yeah. Well, you are off and running. Congratulations. Hope each day we have more and more people checking in and checking it out and signing up. Anton Gunn, Director of Intergovernmental and External Affairs at the Department of Health and Human Services. And the website, of course, is healthcare.gov. Thanks, Anton.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good work. Anton Gov. Healthcare.gov, rather, is Anton Gunn, and healthcare.gov is the site. Healthcare.gov. You know, I already have. I'm excited. I'm always tempted to sign up just to sign up, but I already have healthcare. Good plan, anyhow. But people who've never had health insurance before, right? This is the time to get it. Imagine that. Less than $100 a month.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. Got to do it.
Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
It's 14 minutes before the top of the hour, and we are 32 and some hours into the government shutdown. Every day is going to be more and more pain for more and more people around the country. We learned this morning from the NIH, for example, and this is the most dramatic that I've heard so far. I mean, yeah, it's having an impact on tourists who came to Washington yesterday, trips, long plans, school groups, and others. You can't get into the museums, can't get into the National Zoo, can't get into the monuments. But think about this, 200 patients every week, according to the National Institute for Health, NIH, who will be turned away because they don't have the staff to care for them or take care of them. 200 patients, most of them cancer patients, 30 out of 200 being children. No doubt about who's being hurt by this. And again, 800,000 federal employees furloughed. That means they're not getting paid not to work. They're not getting paid. They're not working and they're not getting paid. And that would be the equivalent of shutting down everybody who works for Target, GM, Exxon, and Google. Huge, huge, huge impact. In the Rose Garden yesterday, President Obama standing with about a dozen Americans who had signed up for the Affordable Care Act yesterday, which Republicans, of course, want to shut down, but did not shut down when they shut down the government. President Obama yesterday, he got the reporters buzzing a lot because he didn't hold back at all. He called it several times a Republican shutdown.
This Republican shutdown did not have to happen. This Republican shutdown threatens our economy at a time when millions of Americans are still looking for work and businesses are starting to get some traction.
Yep.
So the timing is not good.
First time he said it, people sort of looked at each other and said, and then said it again. Then he said it again. People said, uh-oh, he's onto something here.
I mean, you're at the White House every day, for the most part. He's been very, very strong on this, and there's been a lot of criticism over the course of his presidency that he's not as strong as he should be on a lot of issues.
This time he's really showing some spine, really showing some backbone.
That way.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's right. He's right. Cannot let a rump group of, here's how the president describes who is running the United States Congress today.
Let me be more specific. One faction of one party in one house of Congress, in one branch of government, shut down major parts of the government, all because they didn't like one law.
Boy, I think that sums it up as good as anybody could do. One tiny minority of one party in one house of Congress, in one branch of government, because they don't like one law. One law. That has been the law of the land for 3 years. And the president said, again, in the Rose Garden yesterday, standing alongside of Kathleen Sebelius, HHS secretary, and these Americans who had purchased affordable care yesterday, that he said, my message to Congress is really clear.
My basic message to Congress is this: pass a budget, end the government shutdown, pay your bills, prevent an economic shutdown. Don't wait, don't delay, don't put our economy or our people through this any longer.
Just do your job. Just do your job. Stop playing games. And do your job. The White House did announce late last night, by the way, that the president's trip to Asia this weekend has been shortened. He was going to go he's going to Indonesia, and then he was going to go on to the Philippines and to Malaysia. That part of the trip has been canceled. So he will jet off, do the summit meeting or the whatever that meeting is in Indonesia, and then come back because of the shutdown, not wanting to be out of the country that long. And the president again tied the shutdown yesterday to the Affordable Care Act, and pointed out, which is just it's unbelievable that what this is all about for Republicans is that by opposing the Affordable Care Act and not suggesting, and they have not yet put anything else out there, if they kill that would replace it, that means that the 30 million Americans who are now eligible for the first time in their lives ever to buy private health insurance, maybe with even a government subsidy, that what the Republicans want to do is prevent those people from getting health care for themselves and their families. President Obama yesterday.
I know it's strange that one party would make keeping people uninsured the centerpiece of their agenda, but that apparently is what it is. And of course, what's stranger still is that shutting down our government doesn't accomplish their stated goal.
No, they shut down the government because they don't like Obamacare, but it had no impact at all on Obamacare, which, again, just started a whole new life yesterday with these health exchanges. Meanwhile, what were Republicans doing? They were saying, well, maybe you'll like us a little better. Maybe you won't be so pissed off at the shutdown if we reopen the national parks and get veterans benefits flowing again and allow the District of Columbia to spend its money to keep its people working. And they weren't even able to get enough votes for that in the House of Representatives. I think that's a good sign that even some Republicans are tired of the games that John Boehner and the Tea Partiers are playing. On the other hand, most people predict this is going to drag on till October 17, and then we get the debt ceiling on top of the government shutdown. Willie Geist this morning on NBC said it best, I think. I think Republicans have walked themselves into a blind alley. No way out for them. I'll be back with today's parting shot.
This is the Bill Press Show. The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
I'm on this Wednesday, October 2nd, my parting shot for today, day one of the Republican shutdown. And what did we learn? Well, we learned a lot, that a lot of real people are hurting real bad, those 800,000 federal employees who are furloughed with no pay. They've got families to feed. They've got bills to pay. They've got obligations to meet. It's unfair to make them sit home without getting paid for doing nothing, while members of Congress collect a big paycheck for sitting in their offices and doing nothing. We also learn more and more how weak the Republican position is and how it gets weaker all the time. Remember, they started out demanding the elimination of Obamacare. Then when they couldn't get that, they changed to defunding it. Then they changed to delaying it for a year. When that didn't work, they changed again to simply delaying the individual mandate for a year. Then they said, okay, we'll fund the government if senators will just sit down in a conference committee and negotiate our list of demands. And now they want to pass a bill reopening the national parks, to which President Obama and Democrats in Congress have correctly said, no dice, no deal. It is time for Republicans to just stop playing their political games and do their job. Adopt a budget, reopen the government. My parting shout for today, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid joins us on our show tomorrow. Don't miss it. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
This is the Bill Press Show.